Mr. Rajvi, over to you. Have you ever wondered that we have said something with a good intention, only to be later realize that it was completely misunderstood? How many of you have gone through that stage? Quick show of hands. Yes, quite a few. I was in a similar dilemma last year when I gave feedback to a team member. And I said I gave feedback because I wanted to help them with particular input, so I gave that feedback. And the next day when I walked into office, I heard from people that she felt attacked. Attacked. I was astonished and confused at the word that I was trying to help. How could I have attacked someone? And later on when I realized that no, I chosen my words so thoughtfully, precisely mended them, and then spoken to her. How can I attack it? But then later on during the course of next months, I realized that it's sometimes not about what you communicate. It's also about how you say it. And very importantly, what I learned is also how the other person perceives it. Fellow Toastmasters, I today will talk about how a communication style can make or break things. Everybody, each one of us would understand that we all have a different style of communication. Some people are more direct and assertive, that this is what it is, this is how it is, this is how it is to be done. At the same lens, some people are more thoughtful. They think of things and then say, okay, let me understand. And they realize that particular bit, and then eventually they would maybe emotional as well while communicating that particular aspect. So two different domains, and there are different styles as well of communication. But I've realized that every person, and we feel that when we are communicating, it's the same way the other person will understand. But I believe that's the harsh truth, that that's not the way it is. And I have an example to back you up. So last month, I gave a feedback to, I noticed that there was a member in the team who was coming late. So he had this habit of coming at 11 in the morning, 11, and then picking up his bag at 4. And all the other team members were looking at him. And I felt that maybe I should intervene because people are getting ideas that everybody can come at 11 and you at 4. So I went up to this guy and I said, Rohan, I think the times of office are 9 to 6. So why don't you adhere to these times? And Rohan said, okay, so you are calculating my timings. I said, no, Rohan, I'm not calculating anybody's timing. I'm just requesting that I notice you come at 11, leave at 4. That's not the office timings. Others are looking at you. Maybe they will get distracted. They may follow the same suit. So why don't you also improve on the timings? And Rohan again said, okay, so others, are they working like me, equal to me? And I said, Rohan, they may or may not be working like that, but if you're working extra, then you can work extra during the additional hours. But let's stick to the timings because that's crucial. And Rohan again went in, okay, crucial, okay. And that's when the conversation ended, and I said, Rohan, 9 to 6 is the timings, please adhere to that. Next day, Rohan came at a sharp 9. And I was happy looking at him coming at sharp 9, that maybe the feedback was good. He has understood the reason of why. So Rohan came at sharp 9, opened his laptop, and then went out for a coffee. And then after 2 hours, he came back on his desk and started working. And the other team members were giggling because they heard my conversation yesterday. So I realized that again I need to work out. So I walked up to Rohan and said, Rohan, coming at 9 doesn't mean that you will have 2 hours of coffee. Then Rohan said, okay, so even coffee timings are being monitored. And I said, Rohan, there is nothing like we monitor coffee timings, but I'm just trying to understand who drinks coffee in 2 hours. And then Rohan said, okay, so how many hours should we drink coffee for? And I felt, Rohan, let's stop all of this. 9 to 6 are the office timings, please adhere to that. And next day, Rohan came again at sharp 9. And he worked the entire day till sharp 6. And I was very happy that okay, at least something has got into him. Feedback is well taken. He, in fact, had lunch also on his table, and I was happy that at least he's taking that feedback well. And I asked Rohan at the end of the day, hey Rohan, what's the status on that report? And Rohan very casually said, it is work in progress. And I said, Rohan, this was a timeline of yesterday. What happened? Why work in progress? And he said, it takes time. And that moment I realized that Rohan, throughout the day, 9 to 6, had worked nothing. He just sat on his system, did something, but no proper office work. And I was so furious that I thought the next thing that's going to happen is I will talk to the HR. But then something deep within me realized that, okay, eventually he's my teammate. I have to get work out of him. And maybe let me try something else. So the mode that I was using was a direct communication. If you see, I was direct and assertive of how it is to be done. And then I happened to read this Toastmasters manual, which speaks about different communication styles, in which I found a particular communication style which was of supportive in nature. And I thought, okay, let me try this particular one. So the next day, when Rohan came in at 9, I walked up to Rohan and I said, Rohan, I understand where you're going with this. So let's do one thing. You come at 9, have 2 hours of coffee, and then you work from 11 to 4. And what I would rather do is, you do this, any work, if it is still not done, leave it that to me. I will end up doing it. But you do your particular schedule for the next 1 week. And Rohan this time was quietly listening. And I continued and I said, let's do this particular thing, and if it works as a pilot for you, then I would ask all the other team members, 20 odd team members, to do the same way. Come at 9, have coffee for 2 hours, from 11 to 4, then work, and then leave office. And if that pilot works, I'll ask the entire corporate, entire Airtel to work like, we all come at 9, have coffee for 2 hours, start at 11 till 4, work in that time frame, and then leave. Probably, if the way it is working for you, it would work for the entire organization, you would actually set up a better culture. And I emphasize that I'm not belittling you or maybe making a mockery of it. I'm actually very true in this, that maybe that what you will learn in the next 1 week, I will also kind of learn something out of it, and let's make it an organization culture. Rohan was still listening. And deep down, that bulb probably ignited Rohan of what I was trying to communicate. The next week and the subsequent weeks, Rohan improved, started coming on time, 9 to 6, limited copies, and we started in fact taking more projects as well. That's where I realized communication style, if it moves from direct to supportive, people can shift. Fellow Toastmasters, this particular week, do this exercise. Try and understand your leadership style, not communication style. And in your communication style, try and find out, are you direct? Are you very supportive? Are you of a different style? What's exactly your style of communication? Try and understand that as well. And then also find out what's the impact of your communication style on people who are associated with you. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they not willing to cooperate with you? What exactly happens? And then more importantly, try and figure out whether you have the capability to move from that main communication style that you have into a different communication style when needed. When needed with either a family member, when needed in office, or when needed in Toastmasters system. Try this particular exercise for you. The good thing that you're gonna do is maybe one day will happen when you will find your Rohan and you will be able to rightly tell him of how to navigate this particular maze of 9 to 6. Back to Toastmasters.